What's up, football fans? This is NFL UnCut, and this is your Week 5 edition. I am your host, as always, Jason Sircone, and we are going to dive into some game picks and fantasy predictions. But before we do that, we got to talk about some of the news that's transpired in the NFL this week. First of all, everybody's favorite first-round draft choice, Michael Crabtree, finally inks a deal with the San Francisco 49ers. They've been waiting to get it done, and now they've added that primary target that they have needed. This is an offense going in the right direction and a team as a whole going in the right direction, but they've been doing it without a big receiver. Well, Crabtree is going to give them that weapon. It's just going to take a little bit of time for him to get his feet back under him. He's been off the field for a while, but look for Crabtree to make a significant difference in that team's offense as they move forward and get closer to making that playoff push towards the end of the season. So good job of the Niners finally getting that deal done. We look forward to seeing what Crabtree can do on the field. And while we're on the subject of wide receivers, let's talk about Braylon Edwards. Finally getting out of Cleveland. He got the trade he wanted. You know he was miserable there. Now he's a New York Jet with a lot to prove. He's got a rookie quarterback throwing to him. Sanchez has been confident, but he's looking to continue to build on what he has started this year. I think a weapon like Braylon Edwards is going to help him do that. Edwards just has to get over his case of the dropsies. We've seen this in the past. Edwards has a ton of talent. He's proven it. Now he's on a team that's going to look for him a lot more than Cleveland was, and Sanchez is going to be looking for him just as much as he's been looking for Cotchery, just as much as he's been looking for Dustin Keller. I really think this was a big move for the Jets because it gives them that solid second option at wide receiver. So, good move by the Jets. I know I like seeing trades at this point in the year. You don't see it very often, but it's fun to see things get shaken up like this. Good move by the Jets. Now, just a couple shout-outs before we look at the game picks. I want to, first of all, give a shout-out to Brett Favre. If there was anybody out there that doubted this guy was going to do what he did on Monday night, you are out of your gourd. Brett Favre, on the verge of turning 40 years old, guy still got it, ladies and gentlemen. Came out, carried that offense to a win over his old team, the Green Bay Packers. The Vikings are now 4-0. They've got a strong running game. They're doing everything right, and Brett Favre is one of the primary reasons that they are going to be making that Super Bowl push this year. I like what Favre's doing. I like how he doesn't have to do all the things that he is used to because he's got a solid running game behind him. But Brett Favre doing a great job. Keep it going, my friend. And the final shout-out is to Mr. Chad Ochocinco. Here's the reason why. If you're on Twitter and you're not following this guy, you owe it to yourself to check out what this guy does. I have never seen any athlete in any league to spend as much time as he does interacting with his fans. Chad Ochocinco, he's the kind of personality that this league needs right now. It's fun to watch him play no matter who he's going against. And Chad, if you're watching this video, I have a special request that I want to send your way. I know you did it in Cleveland last week. When you arrive in Pittsburgh here on November 14th to take on the Steelers and you need a ride from the airport, I am your guy, my friend. You look me up, I will be there. 10 minutes flat, take you wherever you need to go. So keep that in mind when you're flying into Pittsburgh. Now that that's out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the game picks for Week 5. First game I want to take a look at, the Buffalo Bills at home taking on the Cleveland Browns. We're talking about two teams that are in desperate need of a win this week. The Bills are coming off an absolute curb stomping from the Miami Dolphins. The Browns lost that last-second overtime game to the Bengals last week. Now they're coming into Buffalo. Browns just can't seem to get it done. They're not going to make it happen this week either. I like the Bills at home. I like Marshawn Lynch coming back. He didn't really do much last week against Miami, but there is a reason why. They have a top run defense. This week, the Browns, one of the lowest-ranked running defenses in the NFL. I'm looking for Marshawn Lynch and Fred Jackson to combine to put up fantastic numbers. And I think the Bills are going to walk away with a win in this game. We're going to call that one 23-10. So go Bills. They're going to make everybody want to shout this week. That is your first pick for Week 5. Next game I want to take a look at. The Atlanta Falcons, coming off bye, are traveling out west to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Niners are a team going in the right direction. So are the Falcons. We got two strong NFC contenders here. I like the 49ers at home, and here's why. The Falcons have been able to do nothing to stop the run this year, and the 49ers are a strong running team. It's going to be smash mouth. I like Glenn Coffey to get over 100 yards this week. He didn't necessarily have the chance to do that last week because the defense took care of things against the Rams, but I like this kid in that offense. He's doing a great job filling in for Frank Gore thus far, and I think this is going to be a good week for him to break out. Look for the 49ers to win this game. We're going to call that one 31-27. That is the second pick of the week. Final game I want to take a look at, it's the Denver Broncos at home against New England Patriots. Got Josh McDaniels going against Bill Belichick. A lot of storyline there. I like the Broncos defense. I was down on them at the beginning of the year, didn't really know what they were going to be able to do. They're 4-0. They're proving that they are going to be a top team in the AFC. Now bringing in one of the perennial powerhouses and everybody's favorite this year. Been a little bit shaky thus far. Tom Brady struggling to find Randy Moss as much as he'd like to. Found him late last week for a touchdown against Baltimore. But this week, I think that Champ Bailey and that secondary is going to do a great job keeping Randy Moss and Wes Welker in check. The front seven is going to keep a lot of pressure on Tom Brady. I like what the Broncos are doing, and that is going to result in a win this week. We're going to say the Broncos beat the Patriots at home 24-20. So those are your Week 5 picks. I'm 7-5 so far this season. I'm going to be looking to improve upon that, so we'll see what happens this week. Let's shift gears and jump into the fantasy beasts for Week 5. At quarterback, Donovan McNabb coming off of injury going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. This has 350 yards and 3 touchdowns written all over it for Donovan McNabb. It's got Brian Westbrook back. That offense is putting up ridiculous numbers, and Tampa Bay has been able to do nothing to stop any of their opponents up to this point. I look for McNabb to put up a strong showing. This is going to be the week that he comes back from injury, picks up right where he left off, and Donovan McNabb beats the week at quarterback for Week 5. Running back, I'm going to stay with that Falcons-49ers game and go with Glenn Coffey. Like I said, any Atlanta opponent up to this point has been able to run all over them. I think the 49ers are going to continue that trend. Look for Glenn Coffey to bust 100 yards. He's going to put one in the end zone as well. Glenn Coffey will be your beast of the week at running back for Week 5. Finally, wide receiver, we're going to go with Reggie Wayne taking on the Tennessee Titans. 0-4 for the Titans, have been able to do nothing to stop the pass. Mike Sims-Walker last week lit them up for a couple touchdowns. David Garrard had a big game as well. Peyton Manning coming in. These guys have been on an absolute roll, and I don't think the Titans are going to be able to do anything to stop them. Unfortunately, going to fall at 0-5 for Tennessee, a team that led the AFC last year with the best record. Not going to happen this week, guys. Reggie Wayne is going to be the beast of the week at receiver. Look for him to put up a monster game. And now we're going to shift gears. We're going to look at the chooches, the guys that just won't put up the numbers you need to win your matchup this week. At quarterback, Jamarcus Russell. That's a no-brainer, right? This guy should be the chooch of the year. Horrible, horrible completion percentage. This week he's going up against the Giants in New York. I just can't say a lot for what Jamarcus Russell, and I really am looking forward to seeing what those numbers come out at. But if you're one of the 10 people in fantasy football that actually own Jamarcus Russell, this will be a good week to leave him on the bench. Maybe try him next week, but this is not going to be the week for Jamarcus Russell. He's going to be your chooch of the week at quarterback. At running back, Thomas Jones against the Dolphins. Like I said, Dolphins did a great job keeping the Bills' running game in check. It's because they have one of the top running defenses in the league. I don't think Thomas Jones is going to be able to get a lot done against the Dolphins' defense this week. So you lock him in as your chooch of the week at running back. Finally, wide receiver. I'm going to make a bold pick and say Randy Moss will be your chooch of the week at wide receiver. I don't think he's going to be able to do a lot against that secondary. Like I said, they're going to keep a lot of pressure on Tom Brady. It's going to really make it hard for him to find guys like Moss and Wes Welker downfield. So I'm going to lock it in. Randy Moss not going to put up the huge numbers this week. Hard to bench a guy like that, but at the same time, like I said, this is a show about boldness, and the bold pick says Randy Moss will be the chooch of the week for Week 5. Finally, wrapping it up with sleepers as we always do. First guy is Rashard Mendenhall. Saw this guy break out of his shell last week. He went wild on the Chargers for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. This week going up against the Lions. Y'all saw Matt Forte have his breakout party against that Lions defense last week. I look for Mendenhall to continue his trend and put up another big day against the Lions. And another good sleeper, Mike Sims-Walker. And this is probably going to be the last week that I call him a sleeper because this is becoming a guy you want to have in your lineup every week. 2 touchdowns last week. This week he's playing the Seattle Seahawks. I'm looking for Garrard to keep throwing the ball. He's going to look for Sims-Walker. I'm looking for another big game out of Mike Sims-Walker. Finally, we're going to say it. Braylon Edwards, first game as a Jet, lot to prove. He's going to want to hold on to the ball. He's going to prove that he's still an elite receiver in this league. I think he's going to get the job done against the Dolphins. Like I said, Miami's going to be able to shut down the run, so I'm going to look for Sanchez to throw the ball often, and he is going to look for Braylon Edwards. So if you've got Edwards, you want to stick him in your lineup for Week 5. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap things up for NFL Uncut Week 5. I am your host, Jason Stracone. I am making predictions for the NFL fan because that's who I am, and that is who I care about. Enjoy the action this week, and have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you back here for Week 6. Take care.